Hey guys, it's me again. I just finished WGU D466. I wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about um, like how I kind of came into this course. And then honestly, like the mental block that I gave myself for no reason. I don't know, like coming into this, it seemed overwhelming. And having just finished D467, I was like, hey, these are going to be like the two hardest ones for a while that I know of and that I like was seeing on Reddit. I didn't really see like any major problems with this one. I'm nowhere near an expert with Tableau. This was the first time I ever used Tableau. Hardly use Excel, sheets, stuff like that, unless it's for work stuff. So hardly never. The big thing I would say is it sucks. These D4 classes are like the information that you get is very scarce, and it's like they make you join the WGU Connects. I want to say up until like late last year, everything was in like the course page, and now there's like nothing in the course page, and the course material just takes you to like some stupid stuff, and it just goes, oh yeah, here's the course material. Go to Coursera, go to LinkedIn. Sorry, we're not going to be able to really do much for you. I didn't finish the Coursera for this one yet. It was optional. I do plan on finishing it, however, because I do think that it's nice to get a random, data analytics certificate, even if I never use it in life. It's just, I was kind of taught in my career, in my adult life to, just get as much stuff as you can and never know when you need it, but better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So, but yeah, so enough yapping. Here's what I got. These ones are kind of weird because it's not like, it doesn't really show you everything, but, so I passed. I think this is kind of just whatever. I don't really know if, that's just generic or if that is genuine, but it says, I demonstrated an understanding of visualizations for the current state and change in the current state, accurately representing the x and y axis for both graph. Additionally, I provided logical explanation for the techniques used in the graphs regarding accessibility and effectiveness. Nice work. I don't know if that's, if that's just like copy and paste or what. And then they also put another comment at the bottom. This submission demonstrates satisfactory use of grammar, sentence fluency, contextual spelling, and punctuation. Something that I can't remember if it was I think it was my brother, because my brother was a accelerator in WGU, but he told me to he was having issues with PAs. I think it's PA, right? Not crazy. Yeah, I think it's PA. Yeah, PA, because OAs are, yeah. He told me to write out the question and then directly under it write the answer. And I think I've had 3 PA classes now, and I've done that for all of them. And I don't know if it just like, there's a lot of times that I'll just like type in a sentence maybe, and it'll just be like, hey, like it's just me like writing. It's kind of like going back to school. When you're in like high school and middle school, when you're writing prompts for, or when you're answering prompts for essays, I would just write out the question. What I did for my PA and what I did for every PA so far is I write out the question, and then when I write the answer, I'll write like either, one, whatever, so that way they kind of know that I'm starting my answer. But I would just like rewrite the question kind of in the answer, and then I'd like explain my answer. But shout out to Reddit. If you type in D466 in Reddit, there's a lot of really good. There's 2 that stick out. And I can't remember. I might link them if I can figure out how to do that. But there's one that talks about, he goes, hey, I made like a study guide, basically. He made like a guide on how to do it. It was really good. However, I used his guide for his or hers, I used their guide for the prompts. The actual graphs, there was another one where this guy or person said that they had had like multiple attempts, and then they figured it out, because the PAs, I haven't failed one as far as I know, or I can't remember, but from what I've seen, they just tell you like one thing that's wrong and then just to fix it, but they won't tell you if there's like other things wrong. So when you fix that thing and then you submit it again, there's not like a very thorough like, hey, here's what you did wrong for this, this, and this. So like, you know, obviously you have like, so for example, there's A1, A1A, A1B, A1C, A2, A2A, B, C, you know, so like there's categories, subcategories, and then it goes even further into like smaller subcategories in those subcategories. I can't remember if there's a word for that, but he was like, they weren't telling me exactly what was wrong with my graphs. Like he would change a part of it and then be like, sorry. So he, in his thing, I think there was only like 7 or 8 posts on Reddit about it. I want to say it was one of the first ones. It had a lot of like upvotes, and then there was another one that was kind of in the middle. Just like click through. Honestly, I feel like you can't go wrong doing that. But it says, basically, it talks about like, hey, this is what they're looking for. They won't tell you exactly what they're looking for, but here it is. And that really helped me a lot. And then like there was some hiccups with Tableau, because I was like, hey, and so I had to kind of dig deep into Reddit. If your data is not cleaned and not formatted properly, it will not line up properly. Does that make sense? Like on the graph, it won't display what you're looking for. It took me a little bit. And then another big thing is like making design techniques for your data visualizations. The guy that I was talking about, or the person I was talking about at first, that like broke down each competency, he goes into depth on like, hey, here's what I would do. And that's what I did. I just kind of like played around with Tableau. He links a video in his thing talking about like just basic stuff. I feel like you can't go wrong just going into Tableau and then just like editing your data around. Like I colored mine really, you know, bright colors, and then I made like a trend line, so that way you can very clearly see like, here's where the trend goes, you know, and like this is colored this. Like you can't, like, I overthought this like so much and for no reason, because it really wasn't that bad once I just sat down and did it. I'd probably say the graphs took me like a good, you know, few hours to just, you know, kind of figure out, and then I was watching some videos. The actual like writing prompts, again, probably, you know, a couple hours, and I'm pretty ADD, so if you're focused, I think you could, I think from like start to finish, you could probably get this class done in no more than like 8 hours if you really like buckle down and you just stay focused on this. So you could do it in like a good day or two. I think they block it out for 8 weeks is what mine, like the email I got from mine was like, hey, like this should take you 8 weeks. And I think honestly, if you like truly go, you know, if you like go in depth, I think that there's, you know, and that's why I said I plan on finishing the Coursera, because I do want to learn a lot of the stuff, because I think it'll be useful. There's a lot of useful stuff for even, you know, my career field, which doesn't do a whole lot of, like, we do work with data, but it's not to the extent of like a data analyst or, you know, a warehouse specialist or something. But yeah, it'll be good. I mean, I'd love to try to learn stuff. I'm not accelerated by any means. I try to actually learn like the stuff, because I feel like there's a lot of good info in here. And since it's not traditional school, I can just kind of do what I want. But yeah, so I just finished this term. I'm slated to graduate at the end of next year. I might accelerate some things in the future. I'm a chronic like overthinker, and honestly I think that if you just buckle down, Reddit and YouTube, and that's why I'm trying to add stuff to YouTube, so that way people have like a better idea of like what to expect, because sometimes I didn't see YouTube videos for these, or they're not like newer videos. So yeah, no, I mean, I think that I think this class wasn't bad at all. The hardest part was just for me was just starting it, and I was having some issues with I thought that because like I typed in my number, my student ID number, and it was populating the same data as the number that was in there, you know, just throws a bunch of 9s in there until you like you fill in your student ID. And I was like getting some like, I was like, hey, like, just so you know, like I told my instructors, like, just so you know, like, I'm getting the same data as if I'd like just put zeros in there. I was like, I can just put random numbers and it spits out the same data. And she goes, yeah, that's fine. And I like emailed again, and I was like, just so you know, like, I sent like a screenshot. I was like, here's the data from the blank one that is, attached to the page, and here's, mine with my number. And she goes, good. And I was like, all right, whatever. I'm not gonna. And then when I submitted it, I submitted my, so I threw my whole Word doc into Grammarly, and then it spit out kind of like a whole different thing than what I gave it, because it changes how you write. If you hit, I'd hit yes for like change things. Once it gave me what I gave back, or once it gave me, what I had like gone through, I like read it a little bit, and it just like cut down on a lot of BS, because I like to type a lot of filler, because once I like start typing, I'll just start just ranting, kind of like I do in videos and conversations. But I put it into Grammarly. I gave them, so I uploaded the Grammarly link. I uploaded my Word doc from, like, because I pasted everything into Word. I put data in. I put the PDF of the graph in there, and then I put a fourth thing. I put the Excel with my number in there. Not that it matters. Like I said, the data doesn't really change. I don't know if it's supposed to or not. I'm not gonna ask questions. I passed. That's the big thing for me. But yeah, and I just made sure that like they tell you like how to label everything, and I labeled it that exact way. And then I was just very like polite and cordial to the evaluator, and I was just like, hey, like, thanks for your time for reviewing this. Like, have a great week. I don't know, I'm just a really nice guy. But I feel like if someone's, having a bad day at work and they see some positive stuff, maybe they're more likely to not be, real strict or real, whatever. I don't know. I just treat people the way that I want to be treated, but that's neither here nor there. Honestly, I feel like you control how hard or how easy this class is. I struggled trying to understand Tableau, so it took me a little longer than probably most people. If you watch some videos, and then use Reddit, I think you can honestly get it done very quickly. So good luck. You got this.